Welcome to another episode of Chatting with Staxx. I'm your host, Bill Staxx, and today I got Tom Lavecchia. What's up, man?
How are you, buddy?
I'm good. How you doing?
Good. I'm super excited to be here. First time being on your show. So you were on our show before, so I was excited.
Yeah, man. I don't know a lot about your story, and I want to go a little bit into your story, like your background and how you got into this whole podcasting thing with the
Yeah,
NBA and the Button Man and all that.
yeah. So I'll give you the quick story. So I'm born and raised in New Jersey. My family's from Italy, and I, followed. I worked a lot. So like when I worked a lot, I said, hey, you know what? I want more. So while I worked, I went to school full time, and at night, at weekends, and then I just worked my ass off. And then I got my master's degree while I was working. They paid for it. So I just pretty much was in corporate for 20 years. And although it was great and it was enriching, I wanted more. So I started my own business, a digital marketing firm, about 10 years ago.
Yeah,
And probably about 5 or 6 years into it, I almost went bust. I had a magazine, New Theory, so hence New Theory podcast. And I almost imploded. I literally almost went bankrupt. A lot of bad business decisions. I scaled too quickly, cash flow problems, not in a bad way, meaning I grew too quick and then my service level dropped and I
yeah,
imploded. It's usually the opposite, right? But so then when things went south, I wanted to keep it going because my mother passed in 14 and I dedicated the site to my mother, still on it to this
yeah,
day. And I said, what can I do best? I can sell. I'm a best-selling author. I've been in sales for 20 years. I said, what can I do? I could talk. So I started the New Theory podcast as a way to generate content because I don't write so well, to be honest. So I started the New Theory podcast. Been doing that for about 4 years. And on the contrary to what some feedback that I got from a third party, I got about 600,000 downloads over 4 years, which is not bad for a smaller podcast. I had some billionaires on the podcast, had some
yeah,
really big doctors, I had a whole bunch of stuff. But what I noticed, Staxx, was whenever I had anybody in the mob genre on, it would do really well, right? So I had
yeah.
a whole Michael Francis, had Johnny Alite on, I had Gene Borello, I had Hootie, I had all these people on the show, and it started to do well. I hooked up with John Panisi for one interview. We could seem to get along, and it did
When
really
you
well.
when you guys were interviewing at first, though, you were doing it without the picture, right?
Correct. So
Yeah,
initially for John, the deal was we were going to film just one episode. He was going to show his face. He had no problem showing his face. It was more for his family, right? Because they're still in and around the area.
yeah,
So we wound up doing a 9-part series, and it did really well. So for sake of argument, if I was doing, I don't know, on streaming and video, 10,000 per episode, his was doing like 25,000, and we were doing really well. And also, I was audio for a while. I have a face
yeah.
for radio, right? So it's an audio from a legacy audio guy. So I was really heavy on audio anyway, so I didn't care about the face. So after 9 episodes, it did really well. We got along, and we said, "Hey, listen, why don't we kick it together?" And we started the NBA and Button Man, and now we're about 90 episodes deep.
Yeah, and it's going pretty good, man. It's you guys are you guys have slots in different countries that are like number one ratings or right?
Yeah.
And
So what makes us, I think, a little different is my background is a podcasting background. Podcasting, by definition, is audio. It's on demand and it can be listened anytime. It's not live streamed, and historically, it's not video. So I follow that legacy on the NBA Button Man. So at any given moment, we're ranking really high in certain countries. We do really well in the Nordic countries.
yeah,
We do really well in Israel for some reason, well in Mexico, and on purpose, you could stack the deck a little bit in the ratings. You could put yourself as like a lower tier thing. They don't check, and you can rank all along. But we're ranking the top 200 in true crime in about 10 given countries at any given time. And true crime is one of the toughest categories.
who makes the who puts you in that category? Do they vote or like how do
Yeah.
they
So,
do
so the
that?
way it works is, on audio. So, for example, let's say when I interview you soon, I will have an audio and I'll have a video. The audio, I use Libsyn as a host, and then I can designate which ones I want. No, you got
Yeah,
to be genuine. You can't be like, I can't do NBA Button Man and do like cooking in Alaska. So we did true crime. We did some business stuff, which is even harder to rank the true crime in some cases, and we ranked pretty well on both, which is pretty cool. So we have the legacy audio, or the audio that's doing really well, and then on YouTube alone, we get about 200,000 streams a month.
yeah, that's pretty good, man.
So
So a lot of people are asking, who is this? Who is this? It's Tom Lavecchia.
Well, I mean, in this genre, I'm probably best known as quote unquote the NBA. There's Amber Alert who crashed one of our lives. And listen, I take like a lot of different approach than a lot of these people. So for me personally, I'm a podcaster by heart. I've been doing it for a number of years. I love doing it. It's a passion of mine. Like I said, we hooked up with John. I'm a marketer. I'm a business person, entrepreneur. So when I saw the numbers were good, I felt we had a good synergy. Contrary to belief, I extensively checked John out. I wouldn't just willy-nilly start another podcast with somebody. I felt comfortable enough doing it. I got to know John. I've been with him for about 9 months, seen no red flags, and for the most part, I've seen all positive flags. And for example, we got a sponsorship with Ratchet Clothing in the UK. Shout out to Ratchet. We've been working with the JSV Capital, so we got sponsors for the show. We're building brick by brick. We're not doing the Patreons. I'm not knocking anybody who does, but we're not doing the Patreons. We're not charging for premium content. We've been staying in our lane, keeping it positive, and it's been going pretty well.
Yeah, man. I like your show. Like when I started this, I don't think you guys had a show yet. I think me and you started. Did we start at the same time? The NBA and the Blind Man.
We did start around the same time, and I think you were guest number 6 or 7, which we wanted to see as part of our arc is, gangs are peripheral to the mob. Let's call it what it is. And we wanted to see how they interact, and you had a colorful story. And one of my big things, and if anybody asks you, well, why are you doing a podcast with a reformed mafia member? Listen, I'm a Catholic, which is Christian. I believe it's not where you start, it's where it ends. Yeah. And, I don't listen. None of us are perfect. Staxx, that. And if anybody who thinks, people can't change, you are an example of that. You came from a really rough upbringing. You came from a rough background. You're lucky to be alive. I'm calling it like it is. But you are appreciative. You're on YouTube. You're giving a positive message. And at the end of the day, I'm not a street guy. I never claimed to be a street guy. But I'm a businessman, and I'm a person, and I'm a human. I'm a father, I'm a brother, and I'm a Catholic. And with that, I believe that guys like you are the true heroes and people that may have had a rough past, but really decided to take a positive path forward.
Yeah, man. I appreciate that. I was in such a hole in my life that it was getting normal to go in and out of prison. And it was like expected of me. You know what I mean? Like I expected to go back every few years or whatever. And it's just not how I want to live anymore.
Well, can I tell a quick Staxx story?
Yeah, go ahead, man.
When you started doing all this, and I remember when you got to your 1,000 subs, and I know you had a departure from your previous host, and you started to go alone, and things started to cook for you. And granted, anybody who watches YouTube, it's not a money-making endeavor. It's a lot of work with a little return, but you're chipping at it, right? But the one thing you sent to me, which made me really proud, it's a little corny, but you're like, oh my God, bro, I opened up my first checking account today. I am so happy. And I know we're not super close, but we're close enough that when you wrote that to me, now to be really candid, to me, I've had a checking account for a long time. So it made me think, wow, I need to be thankful for having a checking account because this guy opened up his first. And I was really proud of you that day, and I don't think I ever told you that.
Thank you, man. Yeah, that was my first account. I was 40. This was what? Few months ago.
Yeah.
My first account. And I just never thought that I would change and be like a normal person. I thought like I would always go back to prison. I never would have my own home. I would never own anything. So I never had ambition to do anything.
Yeah.
And now that I'm seeing like a light that things change. Like, all you have to do is put the work in. And
the other thing is, and listen, we're not a communist country, right? So like, it's okay for you to monetize your channel. It's okay for you if you have a big enough audience to sell merch, get a sponsorship, and do these things. That's the American way, right? So I think your goal right now is just to build your tribe, and it looks like it's growing every day. For the most part, I know you had some tussles here and there, but I think you kept it positive for the most part, and you don't get into the muck, and that's one of the things I like about you.
Thank you, man. Yeah, this guy said, this guy Tom should start his own podcast.
Well, listen, a lot of people watching. For the ones that I'm going back and forth, so I don't want to think I'm not listening. We have some trolls in there. To the trolls, listen, you know what? I'm almost honored to get trolled by you because I'm really a nobody. So the fact that you're spending your time hitting the keyboard, thinking about me, trying to come up with witty comments about my partner and I, thank you, right? And then for the positive messages, keep them coming because at the end of the day, motion creates emotion, and we're moving along. We're staying in our lane. We're approaching 8,000 subs, hopefully by the end of the month, and we'll probably be north of 10,000, God willing, in the October-November timeframe. So we take it serious. We've been staying in our lane. There were a time or two that I kind of got thrown off, and because one of my big things is this, Staxx, and you know that. Amber Alert's on, breaking my balls, this one, that one. You know what? I'm actually a very big free speech guy. Just as long as you're not threatening, or just as long as you're not doing anything illegal or inappropriate. Where I draw a clear line is when you get families involved. And I had a situation where people were speaking ill will about my family, about people that I care about, and I messaged them directly. And I even called the person that owned the channel. I said, "It's just got to stop." Because not that I'm a tough guy or whatever. Trust me, my lawyer's on retainer. He can do a lot more than guys with bats. So I have no problem just going ahead and shifting the retainer one direction over another and burying these people. But the truth of the matter is, I doubt they're not doctors. I doubt they're not lawyers. I doubt
they're 8-year-old kid behind a computer like this.
And the truth is, you're never going to stop trolls, right? And also on top of it, it's okay to have a mission, right? But you debate it like gentlemen. It's okay to have an active disagreement, and then you could walk away agreeing to disagree. There is no reason to involve somebody's family. Period. T.
Yeah, that's definitely right on point, man. Like, come after me all you want. You can say whatever you want. I'm a pussy. I can't fight. Whatever. That's fine. I'll be the biggest. I am the toughest guy on Instagram, though.
I saw that, and listen, anybody would be lying if they said they weren't snuck on or backdoored or were messed up when it happened. So the truth of the matter is, it's gonna happen to everybody. I'm just looking at some of the comments. Let me
Yeah,
just
want me to pull some up?
And we see some mutual viewers, so that's pretty cool. So Lexi Johnson, Cosimo, that's pretty cool. God's Angel, he said, "Don't skip my question." It's really hard. If you could re-ask it, I'd be more than happy to answer it. Let me just see.
God's Angel, right here.
I don't mean to hijack your show.
Right here. Can you read that?
Let me see.
Them hiring trolls to attack your brand, Tommy.
Okay, so I'm like I said, I'm thankful in a sense for the fact that we're relevant enough to have a troll, right? That's part one, right? But part two is for those that are listening that are trolling us, right? So I wanna divide it into two areas, and I'm very transparent. One area is it's really meant for John, and all I'm asking for one thing and nothing else. There's a lot of guys out there who did a 302, who maybe dry snitched to, we could sit here for days and go through the spectrum of what a confidential witness versus confidential informer. We can go through all of that, right? That's not for me to decide. I'm not in law enforcement, nor am I a street guy. But what I can say is, with John Panisi specifically, is watch 48 of the episode, keep an open mind, and if you watch that and you still hate John and you still hate me, feel free to put criticism in our comments. I read, or Michael's gone, but we have a C. We just call her C because it's a she, who's an intern who's going to help us with our comments. So either she answers or I answer, but I try to answer most of them. So if you put, which is okay, I will personally respond, but just don't be a dick, right? So I don't mind trolls. But I just would like for them, if they really want to troll and they really want an answer and they really have a purpose and a meaning, then you get, hey, let's talk, and like we may disagree, right? So that's what the people going after John. The people that kind of go after me directly, it's not as much. I'm not as Billa Figuda as Mr. There you go. Yeah, keep the super chats going because Staxx deserves it. Content creation is not easy.
Thank you, Jerry Blossom.
So, people that go after me directly, again, I don't think people go directly for me. I think it's, again, being related to John, but they go after me directly, like directly on DM or directly on my new theory or like carrier pigeon or however, right? So with that being said, my thing to them is, listen, if you disagree, let's talk about it like gentle men and women versus trying to be a troll. So Amber Alert crashed one of our lives, right? And we inadvertently allowed him to be a moderator, which deleted a whole bunch of comments, right? And blocked a whole bunch of people. And then when we blocked him, he would create 7 Amber Alert accounts, right? So I'm going to just share something with you.
Mm-hmm.
I can make as much as $150 to $200 an hour. Amber Alert is sitting there making 7 different accounts, deleting accounts, and blocking accounts. All this takes hours to do, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I choose my energy to make money and supply for resources from my family. Amber Alert uses his time to troll Tom Lavecchia. I'm not saying I'm better or I'm worse, but I'm just saying, my man or gal, why don't you put some of that energy towards maybe having your own platform where you could articulate, hey, this is why I disagree with Tom Lavecchia, or this is why I agree with John.
And then people can come at you. People can come at them the way they come at us.
But not just that, just so they can articulate their message. There's a message there, right?
Yeah.
Now, maybe against what we're doing, but there's a message. So, like listen, I want to be really transparent. I have access to AI bots. I could sit here and get 1,500 different bots that actually comment at the same time, that actually listen to the responses and get smarter as they go along. And then once they get blocked, create another account, and it's like easy for me. It's what I do for a living, right? But I choose not to. What benefit do I have? Believe it or not, and I don't want to get into the people that I spoke to, but there are some channels that are out there that really were rough on my partner that I talked to on the phone. No, and that's got to be a little bit of a troll comment.
Mm-hmm.
They get on John that he speaks slow. Listen, the reason why some people speak slower than others and why I speak fast, some people think and process and let out. John, as you could tell, thinks what he's about to say, processes it, and then lets it out, and he's thinking about the next thing. A lot of people hang on John's every word. So for him, he can't just articulate whatever he wants and feels it every time. He needs to have a certain level of attention that's necessary. I don't know if you guys follow Jordan Peterson. He's the same way. Jordan Peterson speaks very slow and methodically. I'm not saying John's an academic, but what I am saying is he does speak a little slower per se.
Because he's really thinking about what he's going to say instead of just saying some shit.
Correct.
Like a lot of people do.
Correct.
So I want to talk a little bit about this people buying subscriber thing, because a lot of people say that other people are buying subscribers.
Yeah.
And I mean, I heard that YouTube, when they find out you buy subscribers, they can take them away from you.
Yeah, there's a few things that happens. So just letting you know, you can buy likes, you can buy shares, you could buy views, you could buy comments, you could buy live premieres. You can buy anything you want, right? Here's the challenge. You get over 10,000 subs, right? Now, up front facing, you'll see over 10,000 subs, right? Mm-hmm. But if half are real, their algorithm really only acknowledges 8,000. Now, you're kind of like what they call like gray listed. They're not chapping you yet, but they kind of know you're messing around. You're supposed to get a plaque right away at 10,000 followers. So what's weird is if you are at, let's say, 16,000 followers and you don't get a plaque sent to you, it means you're under 10,000 real followers. You just didn't get in trouble enough to get booted. The other part is, as you mess with your views and everything else, I'll give you an example. People may buy views, right? Now, these are bots. They're not humans. So a bot, at best, via programming using AI, can stay on for only a minute. So if I buy views and my average time is 20 minutes, I may show on the front end a shit ton of views, but then on the back end, my average goes from 20 minutes to 5. It will not come up as a browse. It will not come up as suggested. And then on top of it, I lose my monetization because they're not really seeing the ads, and my account's at risk. So I will tell you this. You will see people buy views, right? Mm-hmm. You'll see people buy engagement. But in the long run, you're going to see it slowing down. I'll tell you why. After a while, it gets expensive. It becomes not worth it, and then you're always chasing. So if I could look at a channel right away and tell you if it's real or not because I'm an expert in the YouTube space. I'm not an expert in uh, uh, saying I could be at 1 million accounts my own because I personally just started 8 months ago, but I'm an expert in marketing and engagement where I can look at a set of accounts and know if they're real or not, if that makes sense.
People are complaining about your mic. I think you need, I think the treble's too high on your mic.
Okay, hold on. I might just go live like this. Hold on. Let me use.
So what's up, everybody? Police's house. I can't hear you. No. Unmute mic. Yeah, unmute. Yes. Isn't connected. Nothing. Nothing. If that debate is still on, I'm gonna do it, but I'm not sure if it is gonna be on. Can you guys hear me? Can't hear you, Tom. You could just plug the mic in back in the way it was, man.
Oh my God, there it is. Sorry, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh my God, the mic got muted when I unplugged it, and I'm a Zoom guy, so forgive me. I'm not well versed in StreamYard like this tech advanced dude is, but yeah, much better now.
Yeah, here's a picture of one of your podcasts, New Theory. Make sure you guys go check out New Theory podcast and subscribe to it, and go check out the NBA and the Button, man. What do you guys got planned for the future, man? And I need one of those NBA and Button Man shirts, man.
Consider on just send me your address, I'll get over to you. So we're kind of pivoting a little bit, and what we're finding out that a lot of guys, this was funny, a lot of guys message us and are giving us like real time information, right? So we learned about the tussle between Johnny Light's kids and some of the serious hitters in Howard Beach, and we actually didn't hear from A-Light. We heard it from one of their parties. So we're getting a lot of like ear to the street. Now John's not interacting with them, either I am or our intern is, but nevertheless, we're getting like over 300 messages a day, some of which are kind of recent information. So what we're trying to do is try to maybe keep more current on like the mob front and give latest information and information about the life. But where I kind of come in is I kind of come in and give a little context, and then also try to pivot a little bit towards maybe doing more business topics that are related peripherally to the mob as well as everyday life. So that's kind of our game plan.
It's pretty good idea, man. I'm gonna be, just pumping forward with interviews, and I'm gonna try to stay on a positive path instead of going towards all this negative and let it suck me in,
Yeah.
I want to try to.
Well, let me ask you, because the mob genre space is categorically different than it was a year ago, right? So a year ago, it was Francis, you had Sammy. I think you started around then, and then you had like Johnny A-Light after that. So you got to have 3 shows, right? That mattered, if you will. Yeah. And then now there's probably closer to 7 shows that give different spins, and I think each of them offers their own unique value, including yourself, right?
Yeah.
But one of the things I'm very surprised at, and I'm shocked, because I don't think any of us are under 35. I know you are, but I don't think any of us are under 35. I feel like it's like high school, grade school stuff that's going on, to be honest with you. So I kind of want to ask you, why do you think that is?
I think it's a lot of jealousy, a lot of you got it and I don't. I think that's really what it is, man. It's a lot of jealousy.
But here's the thing, right? So again, because I have a little bit of space in the YouTube space, right? About a little experience, and I worked with a YouTuber before who had like 400,000 followers. He was a client of ours, and believe it or not, and I'm not, I know it's relative, so just don't yell at me, but that's not a lot of subs, believe it or not. 400,000 for what he was doing in the kids space is not a lot of subs. His protege, who I was in talks with, we didn't want to work together, has 3 million subs, right? So like even ourselves having 75,100 subs
Mhm.
is virtually meaningless. It's meaningless in the YouTube world.
When you
So
compare it to like Vlad or something, it's like,
yeah, Value Entertainment has 3 million. Business Insider has 7 million. You know, these channels that people want to watch and listen to have really big numbers. So I think strategically, when one account maybe has 2,000 or another account has 3,000, you're not supposed to go at each other.
yeah,
You're supposed to collaborate to have a synergistic effect to get you both up to 5, 10,
make it
15,
bigger. Yeah,
20. What
yeah,
what I'm seeing is a lot of flip flopping and people getting on them or the other guy and really not doing anything other than talking to the same 2,500 people over and over, and they're going to see their growth trajectory drop. The other part is we have smaller shows really going after my partner, right? I'm a lot different than these guys, right? If
yeah.
somebody really had a beef, Tom at New Theory, you can email me. We can talk about it. You know, we have some legal restrictions, but I may be amenable to chatting with people that are reasonable, that present a reasonable argument, and then and then go from there.
Said Staxx, please ask him what he thinks about all this squabbling over FBS, Lee Cole, and Mob Rats, Mob Talk Radio. Tried to say bad things about John Panisi. I like John. He speaks from the heart.
All right. Can you keep that up because it seems like a loaded question?
Hmm?
So FBS, that's that guy Chris, right?
Yeah, Fatball Sicilian.
Okay, yeah. So I don't know him well. So I don't. Again, I would never say anything negative about anybody, and I like to speak positively because I understand he recovering from addiction and doing some really positive things with his life. But I kind of stopped there because I don't know a lot about him respectfully.
Yeah.
Flea Cole, I don't know a lot about, but I just know that he kind of comes up as one of the troll channels. And again, like the troll channels has a max cap. So keep talking to your, 3,000, and then be respectful. Keep talking to your 2,000 some odd people because what happens is you're not going to grow. But with Flea Cole, I don't know a lot about. Mob Rats Exposed, I actually spoke with on the phone. And I won't say the nature of the conversation because that was between him and I. And listen, I don't agree with a lot of stuff that he says about my partner because I think some of it is factually untrue. But nevertheless, that's his opinion. That's how he feels. I'm a big First Amendment guy. So I don't even have anything negative to say about him because we spoke. For the most part, again, I don't like what he says about my partner, and I will defend my partner where it needs to be defended. Not that it needs to be defended,
Yeah.
but that's it. And then Mob Talk Radio, which one is that?
Just another show. It's a big show. It's pretty big. Mob Talk Radio.
I don't know.
You never seen Mob Talk Radio?
No.
I'm surprised.
Yeah, and I'm pretty well. I mean, to me,
Yeah.
I'll give you the channels that I watch. Right, of course, this Chat with Staxx, the Bobby Luisi Show, Sammy's. I'm actually related to Sammy through marriage. I'm very friendly with Karen as well, separate from that.
Can you talk about that?
No, I mean, so growing up, my first cousin married Sammy's niece, and if you listen to any of my shows, we grew up in an Italian family, not just an Italian-American family, and my mother made a conscious decision to annex us away from that part of the family because of that reason, not to knock Karen. Karen's a friend at this point. We kind of hooked up later in life, but we stayed away from that side of the family because my mother didn't want us involved with anybody with Cosa Nostra. It's just very American, very old school Italian, was very against the mob, to be honest with you. So with that being said, I watch Sammy, I watch Francis, I'll watch Bobby Luisi, I'll watch your show. I watch OC Shorts. I think James has a really nice show, and those are shows that I watch on a regular basis.
About the mafia, you watch?
Yeah, mob genre. Now, not mob genre. I'm a big Joe Rogan guy. I love value entertainment. I
No,
watch.
no, about the mafia. Remember you had that kid on your
Oh,
show?
about Cam. I
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
know if Cam has been posting much video content. I'm a big fan of his site. If he has posted, Cam, I apologize. I'll catch up. I don't think he posted for a little bit on video platform, but I do like about the mafia, and Cam's a good resource. See, one of the challenges right now, right? Everybody thinks it's almost like an arms race for eyeballs and ears in the mob genre, right?
Yes.
What's happening is there's a lot of first party people coming around. You can now listen, which is unheard of, to a made man talk about his experience in the mob.
Yeah.
I don't care, what you say, Francis was a serious guy, Sammy was a serious guy, Bobby Luisi was a captain, Paul Tanzo was a member, John Panisi was a member. So you now in the first time in history are hearing directly from first party resources, right? So
Yeah.
now if you're a second party resource, let's say you and I and other shows,
Associate or something.
it doesn't it doesn't behoove you to go after each other because you can now get it firsthand, like the analysis and sitting around talking in your aunt's basement, like doesn't do it anymore. It's not relevant. You want to be relevant? Give commentary on the shows and how it's insightful. Get them on as guests. Work with them.
Yeah.
Don't sit there and try to tear them down because, again, listen, it's about authenticity and credibility. How much better are you going to get a made man and get the credibility of him talking about his previous life? No second party can do that. And if you are a second party, you should actually try to work with that person, not try to tear them down.
Lexi said the thing about Lee and MRE, etc., drama shows, it's all the daily entertainment between the other shows. I just stay away from it all.
Well, so here's the other part too. So again, I didn't get fully what I do, but I also do media for a living. Right now, the movies are going to start coming back out because they're starting to get produced. Your TV show is going to get back on because COVID's slowing down, and what's happening is you can now get that content you crave, right? So right now, if you are a content creator on YouTube of any aforementioned shows, you should be working to build your community, not try to take down another community. I'll tell you why. When Many Saints Newer comes out, movies start coming out. Wow, that's 1 or 2 nights a week you go to the movies. When your favorite TV show comes on, football season, right? The content that we're lucky to give out right now because people are kind of hanging out at home. In 3 months, they're going to go back to work. They're going to go back to the movies. They're going to go back to watching The Wire or whatever show that they watch, right? Me, I like The Prophet on CNBC. These shows are going to come back because they're able to be produced. Who we're going to see in 6 months. Let's mark today and let's look out 6 months. Who is not only still relevant, but who's still around. So just my advice for what it's worth, and this in the token will get you on the bus. Just don't focus on the negativity. Believe it or not, one of the channels did an eloquent is putting it lightly, show on the Roman Empire, and he crushed it. I watched the whole thing.
Yeah.
And this is a show that has generally not been good to us. I can watch something, and I can even not like you, but I'm okay to disagree with you and still take your content in, even I don't necessarily agree with you. People need to be more open-minded. People need to be more intelligent. And frankly, people need to be more respectful.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%, man. It's like people cross the line. I think it's some people just don't care. They don't have a picture on there. There's no repercussions for the things they say, so they just don't care,
Well, so the next part is, and we'll get a little marketing term, you're gonna get what is called message fatigue or content fatigue. What'll happen is it's really fun if like Flea Cole gets to a fight with so and so, right? And then Flea Cole gets to a fight with somebody else, and then after a while, you're kind of like, okay, like this is funny and all, but like I just want to actually get into the content, which is I think within the same genre, which is mostly mob, Cosa Nostra, or whatever you want to call it. You mentioned on the show, we're also going to cover stuff like Ndrangheta and Sicilian Mafia, because in Italy, it's a totally different ball game. We're also looking to cover some of the LCN activity in Canada as well. So, like, we're focusing on moving forward, which
Yeah.
the windshield is so big, and a lot of these guys are going backwards. That's why the rear view mirror is small. And I'm not knocking anybody. I'm not. But what I am saying is to remain relevant and to not get fatigued, you need to provide good content. Good content always wins. You could call me whatever you want. Our subs have been growing on a steady clip on a case-by-case basis. And believe it or not, Staxx, we don't get the most views out of everybody. Our average show over 30 days between audio and video does about 10 to 15,000 on the low end, average about 20,000 per show. That's a good number, but that's not knock it out of the park, you know. But
Yeah.
in aggregate, between audio, between video, we're doing between 200 to 250,000 streams a month, and we're growing at a steady clip. And the cool thing is, our returns are good, and our average time is really long. So we're really happy about the community that we built. Again, we have some really great sponsors in Ratchet UK as well as JV Capital. So, like, listen, you build brick by brick. You know, that's it. You know.
Jeff Canarsie is Mob Talk Radio. Sorry for the loaded question. I'm a supporter of John and Tom. It's Johnny the Greek from London.
Hey, Johnny. Oh, 30 for 30. Nice.
30 for 30, man.
Oh, Jeff Canarsie. Okay, yeah. I wasn't familiar with the name of the show. I don't know Jeff that well. Candidly, he emailed me a long time ago about one of the guests I had on the show, and he provided like some information and stuff. I don't want to say who it was about. He wasn't disrespectful. He was very nice at that time. And then I got a phone call the other day saying one of these shows like called me like a talentless scumbag or something like that. So not that I want to address it, but like again, my New Theory podcast, Jordan Belfort, Grant Cardone, Gary Vaynerchuk. I don't know if you follow him. I had some like really serious people on my show.
Yeah.
And again, have a minimum of over 600,000 downloads. And I never told you this, but I did do an interview with Johnny Aylett a while ago from 15 that has 300,000 views alone. So in aggregate, yeah. So, and I'll send it to you. So in aggregate, shows that I either produced or did over the last 4 years are north of 1 million downloads. So not that I was the hugest podcast on my own. It's just that I did okay. So if I was that talentless, I wouldn't have gotten the streams. In terms of being a scumbag, listen, I vetted John. I like John. If he's all what everybody said he would did, I wouldn't do the show with him. But the truth of the matter is, and it's been 9 months, every single promise he's delivered on. I don't need to defend him, to be honest with you. I don't need to. But just for some people that are out there like on the fence about the show, John has done every single thing that he said he did and more. I respect a man, and you can disagree, I respect a man who is changing his life around for the better. If he was changing his life around for the worse, it would be a different discussion.
I've noticed that, Tom. Some of these people, they act like they're still in the streets. So,
well,
it's gonna make things hard when you act like that. You know.
I forget the there's a term for it in psychology when you're one way in one life, right? Let's say you're like a mob boss or something, right? And then I think it's like transference or something. And then you kind of go into, maybe the other side, and you're now a nobody in the life and you have to reinvent yourself, right? That could be a humbling experience. That could be an ego-wrecking experience. And I'm going to be really candid. A lot of these guys that are on these shows, they don't sound repented. They don't sound repentant. They sound repentant, right? John legitimately wants to turn his life around. And it's been a minute. If he was going to recidivate or if he was going to do the wrong thing or be a bad guy, it would have showed up over these last 4 years or so. Or I'm talking to him almost every day. If there was a slip up or green flag or red flag. So, I just encourage people to keep it. Listen, there's 3 people watching this show right now. The people that know of the NBA Button Man. I see we have a mutual audience, but not everybody knows us. But the people that know us fall into 3 categories. The people that like us, and we appreciate it. The people that hate us, I appreciate you as equally. And then there's the people on the fence. The people on the fence, check out episode 48. Check out some old New Theory episodes, especially the 9-part series with John and I, and give your own opinion and formulate your own thought. If you hate the show, right, Tom? I listen to you on Staxx. I can't do it. Bafutada, that's fine. But do it respectfully. I don't say Bafutada, that's not nice. But at least be respectful, and we will comment and we will listen. But the truth of the matter is, John turned his life around, and I'm here to support him 100%.
All right, it's never too late. Someone
Wait, hold
said.
on. Somebody wrote something. This is actually really important. So
Okay.
this clown, call me a clown, threatened to dox MRE. I want this to be very clear, concise, with every word understood completely. I was given evidence that people on MRE's channel were coming for my family. My family. In a moment of anger, I transferred that anger towards MRE. So what did I do? I didn't go this whole big diatribe. I didn't go comment back. I didn't make a big deal of it. I got his information, or he reached out to me actually. We talked actually like gentlemen.
Mhm.
And he assured me two things. One, he will never go after my family. And number two, if somebody goes after my family or anybody's family on the show, he will block him. See, that's the difference, right? Somebody wants to write, well, that guy threatened to dox MRE. I did. But here's the other thing. Even if I knew who he was, which I will not comment on, I will never dox him. I'm going to tell you why. Let's just say you dox somebody. And you're a good person, but you do it because you're so pissed, or they cross the line, or they're evil. There's a lot of bad actors out there who will take that doxing information and go after that person's mother, their grandmother, their daughter, their niece. And think about having that blood on your hands just because you dox them. So
Because you got pissed off real quick and you spouted off.
Which I did. Yeah. And what did I do? Like a man, I called him up. We talked like gentlemen, and we ironed it out. He's still going to ding Panisi. That's not going to stop. He's probably going to ding me, so shout out if he's playing on a show. But him and I have a mutual understanding, and for the most part, he has stuck to his word. No, completely stuck to his word, and I've stuck to mine.
John, thank you, man. I appreciate you. Said I got another sub.
Oh, I do have another comment. So we did a show on, and it was with a question mark. So you go back to it. Was Carmine Persco rap the question mark? Okay, so now I know you're newer to the genre, Staxx, correct? Like mob stuff. Okay, so in the mob space, there's like some legacy writers, right? You got a guy at the Post. You got Larry McShane. You got George Anastasia. You have
DC.
Oh yeah, him too. And these other guys, right? So some are like kind of older and washed up, and some are newer and good, right? So Larry McShane has written 2 books. He stood over Castellano's body in 1985. So he has been in the space for a very long time. He's very well respected. He broke the story on, I believe, 5 tenets: 1, paperwork; 2, information from an associate; 3, a conversation with Inspector General; 4, with FBI; and 5, with one of the source that was not named, right? So Larry McShane broke this on the Daily News, which is a national newspaper out of New York, on the front page. So we had Larry McShane talking about, was he a rat? What's going on? Now, some of the paperwork, and I'm actually going to talk to Angela Clemente, who broke the Scarpa paperwork. I'm going to talk to her about it. So the paperwork looked to be not as tight as the other parts. So we were just reporting on, like, think about it, right? A news story breaks, a huge news story. What do? You go to the source. So we had Larry on. We had let him set his piece, and we didn't endorse it or deny it. We reported on it. And a lot of guys took us reporting on it as saying,
like it's a fact.
Was a rat. And that's categorically untrue. And I challenge anybody to watch the show again where we conclusively said that.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people that came out and said there's no way possible that he would have ratted, because after all the jail time he did and his family members were in prison, it's just impossible. People were saying.
My personal opinion is you got to follow the evidence, right? So for him to do those long stretches that he did, and as I understand, and even this is public information, one of the judges, Glasser or whoever, said he's one of the smartest men he's ever met. and this is a magistrate, a federal judge. So with that being said, but with that being said, I believe if he was an informant at that level or at any level, he would have got better favored terms and better lesser sentence that would have been out and would have died in his own bed, right? But again, because it was a bombshell, who are you going to have on? You're going to have the guy who broke the story. Like if we had Shonan, who put the brief in, who was Arena's attorney, he would have been pro client. If we would have a defense attorney on, he's going to say he would have been pro defense. A reporter, I know people worry about fake news and fake media. We had him on, and we gave him his platform, and we listened, and we asked questions, and we did say if there's paperwork, it's 100%. But let's talk about paperwork. Where are the 302s if they had them back then? Where is the other communication? That has yet to appear, which leans towards he's not. But we stayed in the middle of it, and there was a lot of other shows that conflated what we said with us saying that he was a rat, and that's categorically untrue.
Angel says, I heard you say A-Light was a liar and you were having two commentators investigated. And you also contacted MRE on Instagram. You never found out his identity and his phone number. Shaking my head.
Okay, hold on, let me respond. Angel, so I'd be happy to address this. So the first question is, have I called A-Light a liar? I've never called him a liar in a sense where he categorically says that things aren't true. I will be the first to say I believe he embellishes. I believe he tells stories that I believe he was with your brother until like 91 or 90, which I think is public information. But if you ask him, he makes it much longer, right? Which is embellishment. So number one is I believe he embellishes. And John, and I know John. I call him right now and say, John, respectfully, I believe you embellish, right? Having two commenters investigated. I reached out to MRE directly on Instagram, which is true, and I investigated it. I spoke to MRE directly, and we worked it out like gentlemen. You never found out the identity or his phone number. Shaking my head. That I will not comment on, but I would say is if I had it, which I won't comment on, I will never release it. Angel, I talked to Chris Casparosa. I don't have an issue with you. I don't know, like this seemed a little contentious. I would like to have a dialogue with you if you want to. Tom, a new theory. I've never said anything bad about you. I had Chris Casparosa, just so you know, when I had Mike Francis on my show and a lot of guys on the show. One time I had Johnny A-Light on the show. And what happened was Chris Casparosa reached out on behalf of, I understand, Angel's brother, and said, hey, some of the things that John A-Light is incorrect. It's untrue. And we need the opportunity to stay our peace. Chris Casparosa came on my show, New Theory, when it was New Theory back then. And respectfully, the interview didn't even go as well. And he'll even tell you, it just didn't click, which was the first time out of 300 interviews. I actually said, hey, Chris, you know what? Like, it's a little complicated, a lot going on. Let's just take a breather. We refilmed it. We re-recorded it. And I released it with the same air and the same presence and the same everything after John A-Light came on to give fair balance. So with all respect, Angel, you can ask Chris about me. You're not going to, if you don't like me, I'm not going to get you to like me just by 2 minutes with Staxx. But you can ask Chris Casparosa. And the truth is, with Chris and I, we're still talking once in a while. I've always said everything I've done that I said to him. And then where we respectfully disagree, and that's it, you know?
They keep asking about hearing the house shake or something. What was there, an earthquake or something?
So John reported that he, again, listen, I'm a fact-based person, okay? So John had an event, and I think it was in 48. So go to our show. I don't want to get all into it now, but he had an event. And typically, it's one of three type of events. It could be spiritual, which is religious. It could be paranormal, or it could be kinetic. Duke University actually has a department dedicated to just the kinetic portion of it, right? John attests that is spiritual and religious, right? Could be one of the three, but I doubt it's paranormal, right? So it goes down to kinetic or religious. it comes down to religious, spiritual, and I will tell you this much: I'm a God-fearing man. I am not going to go ahead and go against if somebody has a spiritual issue or a spiritual awakening or a spiritual event for me to contest that in any source, right? Is it a little out there? When I first heard it, of course. But me being a religious person myself, me being a Catholic, I believe in Padre Pio. Now all of a sudden, when Padre Pio had what is it when you the stigmata? I believe in that, right? I believe in certain things. So it could be spiritual and religious. John attested to that, and I have no reason to believe otherwise.
People are saying, "Do you believe it?"
I just said I have no reason to believe otherwise.
Yeah. And this dude says, "Or drugs."
I mean, listen. As far as I know, I've been John presence multiple times, and other than the occasional McAllen 18, I have not seen him do any drugs, and nor do I believe he does. And I talk to him on a regular basis.
Yeah. There's a couple disrespectful ones. Just get rid of him. See you later. Let's see, believe this shook for 8 hours. This is, I don't know, man.
Well, listen,
anyway.
Listen, the truth of the matter is there are people that like us or him. There's people that don't like us or him. And there's people on the fence. For the people on the fence, go to NBA Buttman, check out episode 48, and decide for yourself, right? We like forward thinkers. We like progressive thinkers. We like open-minded people. Believe it or not, I don't disagree. Granted, we'd like it a different forum, but if Angel Gotti had an issue with me, she could always reach out to me through Chris, and she could always reach out to me, Tom, and New Theory, anytime. But I respect the fact that she did put a super chat or whatever that is on your screen, and I addressed it to the best of my ability. If it's unsatisfactory, we could always expand the conversation, right? But again, it's okay for us to have an active disagreement and agree and disagree. So, but that's just tell the truth, stop the lies. That's the part. See, that's what I'm saying. It's not the forum for this. So let's just chat offline because I'm not sure what the truth is in terms of what you're saying, and I'm not sure what I lied about today because I came here on my own volition, and I think I've been pretty transparent and probably shared more information than most people share in interviews.
Yeah, and I appreciate it, man. Definitely. So you guys, make sure you guys go check out NBA in the Button, man. New Theory podcast. And anyone you want to give a shout out to before we go?
I want to shout out NBA Buttman. Check us out there. Again, if you're brand new to the podcast, go back to the early. It's on the same channel on YouTube. Go to the early New Theory 1 through 9. That's a good way to start to give you a backstory and context. If not, go earlier on to find the way through. If you have ADD or ADHD like I do, and you want to maybe just cut to the point, episode 48 seems to be kind of like the marquee episode. We can get more information. I can't see the comments because I'm toggling back and forth. But again, Tom and New Theory, you're welcome to reach out to me anytime. We can thank you, Depo. We can chat. We can disagree. John Gotti Jr.'s paperwork, he told, and why. Yeah, I don't, like I said, like I don't, if somebody did a 302, I'm not the arbiter of who is, I don't like to use a word, is a rat. I'm not the arbiter of that, right? So I can't say, well, you did this, that makes you that, right? I'm not the arbiter of that, right? So I'm not going to throw, like, just because somebody doesn't like me, and if they're in that camp and they did something wrong, doesn't mean I'm going to point that out. Or right. Or they did it right, I'm going to point it out.
Some people are like this, Tom. Some people don't like John, so they're going to look at you like, I don't like Tom because he's with John, Some people are just like that.
they're welcome to be that way, but that's why it's the NBA and button man. So I'm going to give you. I probably should have said this earlier, okay? And this is really important. And believe it or not, I think this could resonate respectfully with somebody like Angel Gotti. I talked to Chris Casproza. I talked to a whole bunch of people. I don't talk to Angel, but I talked to Chris Casproza. I took a lot of people around, right? So you take me, Tom Lavecchia, right? I'm 45 years old. I'm getting old, but I'm 45 years old. I grew up in New Jersey in an Italian family, right? In and around Elizabeth, New Jersey. The local mob there was the Cavalcante family. That was kind of like the crust of the core. And, if you really wanted to, you kind of could have got involved, not like in terms of like being a made guy, but like, again, I don't want to get into it, but I had like family members and people that we knew and people that we grew up with in that life. You can't swing a dead cat in New Jersey, just like, well, more President Howard Beach. But my point being is I'm just a regular Italian kid from New Jersey, right? Italian American kid, right?
Mhm.
And I kept straight, right? I went to school. I got my master's degree. I worked in corporate. I run, two successful businesses. I got a beautiful family with 3 kids. I got a beautiful fiance. And I really worked hard to do okay for myself. So I kind of took this path, right? Now, you have
Yeah.
John Panisi, respectfully, he's also Italian American, right? But he grew up in a different environment, right? Howard Beach and Ozone Park was categorically different than just outside of Elizabeth, New Jersey. So respectfully, he grew up with a situation that he was in the streets. A tragic event happened, which he paid his dues for. It is not a good incident. We don't like to talk about it. He paid his debt to society, and then got out, was kind of away from the life for a while, and then got back into this organization that happens to be Italian American or Italian, and he went a different way than me. But at the end of the day, no matter where we started, him and I ended at the same place. So why did I end up here, and why did he end up here, and why do we end up together? And it's about our trials and tribulations throughout our life as Italian Americans, as men, as fathers, to talk about what happened, why did it happen, how did it happen. And that's why we focus a little bit about the life, because that's what people want to hear. That's a little part of the genre. We talk a little bit about business, and we talk a little bit about ourselves. And that's the whole message of the show. I'm fascinated with why one guy goes this way and one girl goes this way and whoever goes this way, that comes from the same means, the same culture, the same background, the
Yeah.
same ethnicity, whatever that is. But
Sometimes that happens, Tom. Sometimes that happens in the same household.
yep,
Like one brother will go towards the mob or the gang realm, and the other brother will go towards law enforcement.
yeah,
You never
yeah,
know. Like,
yeah, yeah. Yeah, and then like I'm fascinated with the Italian American experience, right? Candidly, I'm not winning a lot of favor with certain people in my community for doing the show. Like I'll do New Theory, and I won't even mention NBA because if they're Italian American, they won't come on if there's any tinge of mob stuff.
yeah,
I remember working in corporate. I had to deal with soprano comments on a daily basis. I still think there's some prejudice to a smaller extent, not as it was. Um, um, what is it? Junior's 5 trials, 30 months, last trials facing death penalty. Elite was fast to witness. Well, so I don't think I personally said that he was a rat. So I don't know. Again, so and the other part is nobody's talking about A Light. Like I brought him up briefly. That's my point, right? Like I'm not sure. Again, respectfully, I think he spent like millions of dollars on trial. I heard, right, because I was watching it back then. So obviously, if he was fighting the law, he's out on their side. So that makes perfect sense, right? But I don't think I said anything otherwise. And number 2 is I don't know why elite is like that's part of the challenge here, right? And this is just a recommendation. Anybody's listening, put the keyboards down for a minute, right? You could comment, but A-Light has nothing to do with this. And now what happens is A-Light's people hear it and they jump on it. And there's an article that goes back to 2015. 2015, I talk about the Twitter wars between John Jr. and John Gotti Jr. John Gotti Jr. and Johnny A-Light. And
yeah,
I'll be as respectful as I can because I'm a respectful person. I can't imagine that either side has to be tired. If they're not, God bless, I'll salute. But I can imagine that they're just not tired of the trolling, on both sides of the nonsense of trolling, and it's got to be tiresome, you know.
Yeah, I'm sure it is, man. But I mean,
And
it's
I'm empathetic towards that. So if you notice, I'm not feeding in like so. For example, I know Angel is kind of getting on me a little bit, but there's also like a lot of commenters that are against their family that try to draw me in on our show, and I refuse to do it because I don't want to entertain the negativity.
yeah. That's why I'm trying to stay away from the
Yeah,
negative, man. Trying.
yeah, well, yeah. I mean,
Doesn't
yeah,
always
it was
work.
yes, it was a New York. It was a New York. Yeah, Angel's correct. It was a New York Post article where they kind of talk about the Twitter wars. I mean, I just, I mean, listen, Nelson Mandela forgave his captors. That's all I could say. I think there could be a possibility of some peace down the road. It's just somebody has to take the high road and initiate it, and it's not easy. It's really not when people like go after your family, and that's not. And that's why I will not dox anybody, and I will not ever mention anybody's family, or really, I don't even mention anybody, but I don't mention anybody's family. And then on top of it, I just wish other people would do the same. You know.
I know my old co-host did it to me, man. So I know what it's like, to have information leaked out there.
Well, it's interesting because I actually was pretty friendly with your co-host, a former co-host. I had him on the show, both shows, and I caught something that um, well, so if you stop lying about my family, it would end. So the truth is, that's right. Somebody has to start it where they say, "Hey, I'm not going to talk about this anymore," and then the other party has to put down their keyboard, and then that's how you start again. No,
Yeah.
again, I'm going to sound like a broken record, but Nelson Mandela broke bread and forgave his captors. I don't know what more somebody could do to you, and he still forgave them. Remember, like the heart of Christianity is forgiveness. So, like, we really get like if we are. Some of us are religious, some aren't. We have to really kind of practice and say, you know what, maybe we need to kind of forgive and maybe
When
understand
you,
where they're coming from.
with my opinion, when you walk around with hate in your heart, it messes with your own self. You know what I mean?
Well, I'm going back in the comments, and there's a gentleman named Steven. He's an Italian name, and he goes, Elite is trolling, and I never talked to John about this. John and I don't, we're not like super close friends, and we don't like talk every day. But he was very good about having coming on my show a few times, and like I said, conversely, I had Chris Caspro's on. Mike Franciso just didn't have him, and a whole bunch of people as part of the genre. But Steven says, you know what? It's A-Light's trolls that are doing a lot of the stuff, right? And again, I don't have proof of this, but trust me, they'll probably confirm. But a lot of people on the Gotti side in that camp got pretty crappy things happen to them online, right? So like, here's the thing, and it's called license, right? So maybe I'm just saying maybe Johnny A-Light is not himself hitting the keyboard, right? But what happens is when you have a followership and you have a community, they will stick up for you.
Yeah.
And they may troll on your behalf, whether you like it or not. Whether you like it or not. So the truth is, Johnny A. Light, I think, would benefit, and he's a friend. I think he would benefit from saying, "Hey guys, on a show, stop the nonsense.
Yeah.
I'm not doing it. I don't want you doing it. And if I catch you doing it, I will block you. I will get rid of you." And the truth of the matter is, if he's your idol and you look up to him, right? And he blocks you, that's the worst thing that can happen. So, and the truth of the matter is, these aren't street people. Be worried about the person who doesn't write. So my point being is, somebody has to take the lead here on his camp and say, "Hey guys, you know what? Let's just leave these people alone." And then conversely, I'm assuming, Angel even said if it stops, they would stop. I think that's the message I got.
It's got to be exhausting, like
But it
you
has to
said.
stop. It really, again, I can't imagine that anybody involved is just not tired. I can't imagine that they're not, And I'm
Yeah.
empathetic towards it, to be honest with you.
I wouldn't want to be dealing with all that, man. I dealt with some of the bullshit that comes with all this, with the hate and stuff. I just don't want no parts of it. I just want to move forward and focus on what I got going on. I got a lot of good guests coming on. Some
Yeah. Who's coming
major.
on? Who's coming on?
I can't really say, man. I can tell you, Stephen Gillian's coming on next week.
I got to tell you this much, okay? I'll give you some props, right? You caused a big stir, Mr. Staxx. I'll tell you why. So I watch your show.
Mm-hmm.
I watch your show, and I respectfully have never heard of Raimondi. I did hear that like he had something to do with the Pope and all this other stuff and this really outlandish stuff, right? So
Yeah.
you had him on a few times, and I happened to watch, right? And I don't have a negative opinion about the guy. And then in terms of positive, I found it frankly very entertaining, right? So I'm not saying anything negative, and I found it very entertaining, right?
Yeah.
We've gotten more comments about Raimondi in our comments than the trolls and the positive put together. So what happened there? I watched your show, but I just took it and moved on. What happened?
I don't know. Raimondi just turned it into a phenomenon out here, man. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think it's the Vlad interview. It's just really getting crazy.
But that's why. So like, and I think you were like you incubated it. Like it started with you, where you had him on a few times, which kind of gave him a little bit of press. And I guess people do watch the show.
I was not the first person to have him on. Jordan Harbinger had him on. A lot of other big names. He had over 1 million views. I didn't just pick him out of thin air, So, I mean,
hold on. I just saw something. So this is what I got a comment. So somebody said that somebody doxed somebody else. It happened so quick, but doxing is a little bit more than just saying, "Hey, here's this person's information." Right? What happens is it's meant to expose them. But I'm going to give a crazy example, right? Let's just say, for example, I give Staxx address out inappropriately, right?
mm-hmm.
And I have not that I do, trust me, I don't. But let's say hypothetically, I have a fanatic follower. Like I'm talking like just a crazy person that I can't control, that I don't even know, only through the web, right?
Yeah.
And I go ahead and you go ahead and you say I'm a bad dude, or you say something bad about me. Not that I give license for that person to do it, or nor am I responsible for that person to do it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that person may do something to harm you economically, physically, emotionally, right?
Just torment you or anything.
Well, that's my point. So my thing is, what doxing does is it makes it easier for people to do that, and for that you're guilty of. So again, people got on me when I threatened to dox somebody. That was at a moment of anger. So whether I had the information or not, I wouldn't release it because I thought about it, and more important, fuck dox, let's box.
You got the comment of the day, man.
There you go. From a metata.
Dox, let's box.
So listen, and I know. I try to get around as much as I can to the other shows. I kind of mentioned the shows that I watch. So there's not a lot of time between that and having a young one at home and running 2 companies. So I try to do what I can when I can. But listen, listen, you live once. You don't need to dox each other. I think, not that I'm going to make any change, but maybe people can kind of slow down on the trolling, slow down on getting on each other, maybe listening to other people's sides. Typically, there's a reason why people are so passionate about it. Maybe it's about somebody's father who passed. It's about somebody's uncle, about somebody's kid. And the other part is the second you get family involved, not that trolling is the most honorable endeavor. When you get into family, that's the definition of a scumbag, in my opinion.
It's crossing the line, man. It really is.
Agreed. And I'm sorry we spent so much time on that. I really wanted to talk more about you. I'm going to have you on my show, but I wanted to talk about you, and I wanted to talk about other things. And like I said, listen, for those that didn't check out the show, NBA and Button Man, go to episode 48. It's on YouTube. It's on iTunes and all major audio platforms. Check it out. If you found us from the Staxx Show, leave a comment after you check it out, and see from there. If it's maybe something you're on the fence about or something you want to talk about, I'm a transparent guy. You can always email me at tom@newtheory.com. I do get about, between work and the show, I do get about 200 emails a day. So if I don't respond right away, I'm not ignoring you or it's not an important comment. I just get a lot of emails.
I get about 5.
Well, I'm a digital marketer, so I have a lot of digital business. So probably about 150 are related to my work. Probably about 30 are related to the show, and then MBA, and probably 3 to 5 are about New Theory that trickle in.
Yeah, mine are all junk mail. It's not about shit.
Can you do polls on this?
On here?
Yeah.
I don't think. No.
You can do polls on this live chat, but I don't know. Oh, you're doing it for the StreamYard. Okay, so that would be
Yeah.
pretty interesting to do a poll. How about this? How about this? I'm gonna keep it simple. If you watch Shane Buttman, drop a 1. If you haven't, drop a 2. And if you're like hell no, drop a 3. I just want to take a quick inventory. 1, hey, seen it before. 2, I haven't. I'll check it out. And 3, hell no. Let's wait for the 3s to come.
What's this? Ask him about when Hootie slapped you up. It never happened, and it won't ever happen. So keep dreaming, bro. Dudes are flies, and just get the hell out of here. Fucking gnats, man.
Nice to see some 1s. It's pretty cool. Mr. Cuban 3. I'm sorry to hear that. Sorry to hear it, Steven Paisan. Sorry to hear that. And then Baldy hit us 4 and 6.
You got a 6, man.
So I'll count later. Probably get some 1s. Got some 2s, a few 3s, and that's it. All right, Steven, thank you. You put 1. Hopefully, he's genuine. He seemed like a paisan. So listen, you don't have to watch a show and fall in love with it and become your regular show. But I think if you check it out, keep an open mind, and then take it from there. You always want to understand other people's point of view. In terms of the mob genre, if it's something you're interested in, what better to hear from a guy who's in the life? And as I understand, if I'm not mistaken, the most recent in that life. I'm not knocking anybody, but some of these stories are a little bit older. And although I love some of those old stories, a lot of it could be revisionist history, right? So at least if they're more recent, it can be validated. It's stuff that hopefully is a little bit more meaningful.
Hey, yo, Jet. Peace out, bro. You're a gnat.
Wait, I'm confused. Steven writes 1 and then 3 3s. All right, well, sorry I didn't convince you. I can't convince everybody. Let me see. It's a little slow. Okay. All right, I'll tie them up later. I don't know where the 4 and 6s count, but just wanted to get gauged. So it looks like we do have some crossover in audience. That's always good to hear. And it looks like that we have some people that like you but don't like us, but that's what makes this country great, And here's another thing too.
She said Jet Cards is Hootie. That is Hootie. Commenting.
Wait, was that Ramundi is your boy watching?
It's not him, no.
But there's like a lot of so people making fake accounts?
Yeah. That's not him. Mom, don't comment because you're kissing these people's ass. The biggest mob reporters have documented this. That's not him.
Is that about me or you or both?
I don't even know.
I don't know a ton. I know. I'm more like the orange. I probably read about like 20 something books on the subject, and I've done about maybe 15, 20 related or indirectly related interviews outside the NBA and Buttman. And then,
so I'm pretty sure you do got some knowledge about the mob.
Yeah, I would say a decent amount for somebody in my position. I'm not an expert by any means. I'm definitely not a journalist, but I'm just a podcaster who does it as a passion and I try to have a little fun with it,
Thank you, Flippity Floppitus.
Let me see.
I got to make something to eat, man. I'm starving.
Well, listen, I think this was good. We're going to have you on my show soon.
We've got an hour and 12 minutes.
Yeah,
got an hour and 12 minutes, man.
It's a long one. But listen, like I said, it's not how you start, it's how you end. You got to keep an open mind when it comes to people, and again, listen to anybody who is about to send a troll comment, about to do something stupid, think twice about it. Use that energy towards something productive. And then in terms of, with John A. Light and the feud with the other side, I wish them all the best. I just hope that they just find peace and serenity and joy in life and outside of this stuff, because all this is meaningless in a sense, right? This is just a little content, some comments, some jabbing, and that kind of stuff. But we have like some really serious problems in the world, right? Tomorrow is the anniversary of September 11, and it's a shame because I really feel after 2001, after September 11, we were probably very close as a nation. Not to get too involved with politics, but you fast forward 20 years, we've never been so more far apart. So just hopefully you can find common ground,
It's bad. Where were you when that happened?
I was at home with my mom. I was a late starter. I had to be at work. and I was having some espresso. And it was like 8:30 in the morning, and I think it was 8:30, 8:50, one of them, and the first one hit, and it hit. I'm like, what the heck? But I went to work. It was around the corner. And then the other one hit, and then I was in Kenilworth, New Jersey, where I went to the top of the roof of the parking garage, and I could see the tower smoking from there.
Wow.
And I went back and I watched them like, holy shit. And I listened to radio, listened to TV. They said, but TV in the concert, and I still worked. And then they sent this home at 3:00. I said, hey, everybody go home. So what I did was, after the city opened, I think after 4 or 5 days, I actually finagled my way behind it. I drove into the city, and I was like, probably like a good 20 feet away from the last spot. It was smoking. It was crazy. You know, there were tags for the bodies, the dogs. It was insane, and it's just really a shame because we all, you know, especially being from this area, we do know some people who passed from it, and you know, it's something that even 20 years later, you know, it's a shame. I don't know how else to explain it. You know.
Yeah, I mean, I skipped work that day. Because I was a raging alcoholic and I could not make it to work. And when I woke up, I saw the plane already hit, and then the other one came. Boom! I was like, holy shit! So I called my mother. She lived like probably 5 blocks away, 5 long blocks, and I started walking to her house, and there was an armory. And they were outside the armory with machine guns and shit.
Wow.
And I'm like, damn, something really major is going on. If they're on high alert all the way out here when it's happening there, you know? And it was, I remember it like it was yesterday. It was crazy.
Wow. Well, listen, I appreciate you having me on. Listen, again, for those that haven't checked out the show, check out the show. For those that are in the hell no column, I will not be able to convince you. If you want to keep an open mind and check out a show, check it out, NBA Button Man. Or if you somehow just like me, which I doubt, check out New Theory for more business and entrepreneurial topics. So there's a little bit of both for everybody. And again, I appreciate you having me on, Staxx.
Definitely. Thank you for coming on, man. And make sure you hit the like, subscribe, and notification bell so you can get my videos every time they drop. Till next time, man. Peace.